Oh my God, it's your favorite time of the week. It's time for the Courage Weekly. Every week, I give you tips on how to unlock your ability to communicate more courageously so that you attract your following, whether it's online or in person, or just so that you can rest your head at night knowing that you spoke truth. And this week, we have questions from the community. Specifically, Victoria asks, how do you push yourself to show up on camera if you're worried that A, the quality of your camera isn't that great, and you're competing with all these professional content makers with their big number of quality cameras or people super good at content, and B, when you're dealing with self-image stuff, like you have acne and you look a bit sad or whatever. Okay, shout out to you, Victoria, for asking such great questions. For the first part, which is basically, how do you compete with all these people who have way more money than you, way better cameras than you, way better lighting than you, might even have a professional setup, and you're just here on your iPhone camera, like I am right now? Well, the best way to win any game is to keep in mind authenticity beats quality. And it's like by a lot. Authenticity over quality, always. Let me give you a personal anecdote. I've been making content for about 3 years. I feel like I've tried everything. I've paid thousands of dollars to have professional videos shot by a camera crew, professional lighting, and an Airbnb that I rented for the day with a professional editor at the end, and had those videos do nothing. I've also recently just started pulling out my iPhone when I feel inspired, jumping on camera. Sometimes my hair looks bad, my chest looks like it needs a shave, I'm in a tank top, and those videos, boom, hundreds of thousands or millions of views. The difference is that I was authentic in the latter videos, where in the prior ones, I was kind of on a script. I wasn't as connected to myself, and people felt that, or rather, they didn't feel anything from me at all. The best way to win any game, because look, making content is competitive, but the best way to win any game is to be the only one playing that game. And you're the only one who can play the game of being yourself. There are people who are going to resonate with Victoria who are not going to resonate with me. But if Victoria is looking at my Instagram and trying to copy what I'm doing, then she's just going to be a worse version of Kaizen. And why not just take the real thing, you know what I mean? But if I am trying to mimic Victoria, that's going to be weird too. So as trite as it sounds, your job is really just to be the best version of yourself on camera. And by best, I don't mean with the best camera, with the best script, with the best lighting, with the best backdrop. No, by best, I mean the realest. The realest. And this is what often community or content creators will do. Because they want to say something, but they feel insecure, they'll try to fill that void of insecurity by getting higher quality stuff. Oh, I just need a better camera first. I just need better lighting first. I just need a better script. Oh, I didn't say my words perfectly there. All of these are just ways of trying to keep yourself safe from criticism. And they don't work because people are going to feel when you're communicating defensively and you're trying to hide behind all this flash and pizzazz. But when people feel that you're being authentic first and foremost, boom, instantly they're pulled in. And why? Well, it makes perfect sense because if you think about it, the social media landscape is inundated with content. Probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of new pieces of content being put out every single day. People have very short attention spans. So the way that people are going to sift through the stuff that they like versus the stuff that they don't like is they're looking for realness first and foremost, because they can see videos that are high production quality anywhere. But are they going to see something that's original everywhere? No, because originality is rare, because most people are afraid to actually be original on camera. So specifically what I would recommend for you or anyone else worried about this is actually practice just taking videos on your iPhone in the moment you feel inspired. I mean, you're like walking, you're like going for a walk with your dog, and you just have this thought, and you're like, oh yeah, I have this thought about AI. Boom, take out your phone, start recording right there. Not later when you have the good lighting, not later when you've had time to think about what you want to say, right there. In the beginning, it's going to feel really weird. But as you practice, you'll realize, A, you can always just not release it if you don't like it. And B, when you're inspired and you're actually feeling what you want to say, that is when the best content will be made. And I've seen this directly in my own content and directly with other people that I've supported as well. So, again, if you're trying to compete on the quality game, you're going to lose because there's plenty of high quality stuff out there. And after a point, you just reach diminishing returns. I mean, like, how much nicer can your camera actually be than the next person? But if you're being yourself, then you're not having to compete with anyone, because all you're needing to do is represent what you believe in that's uniquely different from what everyone else is saying, and people will key on that. You see that little stutter? That was a unique Kaizen original. I'm not going to edit that out because it's authentic. I want to show you what it's like. And actually, this is an important point too. In some of my videos, if you watch closely, my mouth has this weird thing that it does from just trauma related, where it just goes like, and it looks really weird. I just leave that in. Now, sometimes if it's not part of my best take, I won't incorporate it, but not because there's something wrong with people seeing that, but because it's just not my best take. But my best take is qualified by what's the realest take, not what's the smoothest. So some days when you're recording, you are going to be super buttery smooth, and those days are amazing. But most of your days are not going to be like that. I just recorded a video a few feet from over here. It took me probably somewhere between a dozen and 20 takes to get that 1 90-second reel. And you would think, oh, well, it's just 90 seconds. Like, why is it that hard? Well, you got to move through all your shit. Right? You're going to be thinking about how you look. You're going to be thinking about what you say. You're going to be thinking about your vocal tonality. So it's going to take a while. But if the only real goal is to be real, then you'll be able to put something out. And even if it had little typos and errors in it, people are still going to resonate because they feel, oh, this is like a person acting normal on the internet. And then this world of fake news and AI and talking heads saying things that they're just fed by their corporate executive manager, that counts for a lot. So always authenticity over quality. Naval Ravikant has a really good quote, which is, you escape competition through authenticity. So if you remember that, you won't be worried about the quality camera. And when you have your first reels go viral without the quality camera, you recognize that the quality camera is nice. It's like a force multiplier, right? So like, let's say your reel is like a 7, just purely on authenticity. The quality might push it to like, I don't know, an 8, probably at best, honestly. But it's not going to make it a 10. Whereas you can have a reel that's a 10 on authenticity alone, and that will be enough for it to go zonkers. So focus on authenticity always. Once you get good at being really authentic on camera, then you can invest in quality. But honestly, sometimes people just like to see the raw takes because it communicates something. Like, imagine you just woke up in bed in the morning and you just had something you need to get off your chest. If people see that, there's actually something really relatable about that, because it communicates, oh, this was spontaneous. They weren't planning this. They weren't scripting this. This is not a strategy to sell me something. This is a spontaneous moment. So authenticity is actually, it's a necessary and often sufficient condition. But actually, sometimes it's even a force multiplier for what you're doing. Make sense? Of course it does. Next question. How do you get over looking not your best on camera? Right now, my hair is kind of frizzy. And my pants looking kind of saggy because I haven't been taking very good care of them because I've been throwing them in the dryer. And a lot of my clothes are in the dryer right now. So some of my best clothes are not available to wear right now. It doesn't matter as much as you think it does. Now, obviously, if you're trying to project a certain image because you have a certain brand that's supposed to look professional, you don't want to look slovenly. But at the same time, having a little bit of acne on your face, or some hair on my cheek because I haven't shaved yet, or your hair not looking as good as it can be, most people aren't noticing that stuff. But it's kind of like a minimum threshold, right? It's like, let's say this is a scale. And it goes from 1 to 10. And everyone has a minimum threshold that they need to meet for their content to be at least watchable, right? Like you don't want to have drool running out of your face and food scraps and all over your beard and crust all over your eyes. Like you want to look reasonably presentable, but you probably don't need to be more than like a 6 often for people to be like, all right, this is good enough, and just watch it. For reference, I want you to go check out videos on TikTok. A lot of the stuff that blows up the biggest on TikTok is clearly on like a relatively old iPhone camera. The person did not do up their hair and make sure their nails are perfect or any of this stuff before they made the video. They were genuinely inspired in that moment. So this basically goes back to the first question that you asked about how do you compete with all these people who have good quality cameras? Don't compete, differentiate yourself. Always differentiate yourself. And if you differentiate yourself, then people will be very allowing of all these little insecurities, because that's mostly what they are. The insecurities that you're way more focused on than the other person is even seeing. And I look at my old videos, and actually the first ever one that looked viral, I was like, damn, my hair looks awful. Like I look homeless right now, like homeless in the nature. And maybe that's an aesthetic, and maybe that's why people liked it. But I don't think so. I think people liked it because in that moment, I was actually feeling really lit up. It was a video about the attempted assassination of Trump. I was feeling very, very lit up in that moment. And I just felt, I was like, I need to say something right now. Boom, I did. And it was actually a life-changing moment for me. And it wouldn't have been life-changing if I had waited and been like, all right, let me get a good night of sleep and make sure there's no bags under my eyes and make sure that I've gotten my hair done and coiffed my beard and manicured my nails. Like, the moment would have been gone. So usually the resistance points to where the reward is. So when you have a lot of resistance coming up around putting out a reel or whatever right now, if you go into it in that moment, you got a bigger reward. The more resistance, the more reward. So thanks for the questions. These are really, really good. In summary, always prioritize authenticity over quality. Once you've really nailed it on the authenticity, you could add quality. But even then, there's still going to be moments where it's like you just got to say something in the moment at that time when you're feeling it. In those moments, just whip out the iPhone and say what you got to say. Stay creative.